Welcome to another edition of Sweet and Sour.
Oh, whoa. No, this is a special edition. It's sweet and sauerkraut because we're in Germany.
Not only in Germany, we're at the birthplace of Volkswagen. We're in Wolfsburg, and behind us there, that's one of two of the delivery towers.
Yeah, it's called Autostadt, and this is basically a fun place for people to come and pick up their European delivery cars. So say you live in France and you've ordered a new Volkswagen Golf and you want to come to the factory, have a tour around, you would drive here, you would tour, and in behind us is basically like a vending machine for brand new cars.
Check out that video when it comes out. So what are we driving today?
This is the brand new Arteon. This is the large mid to full size car coming from Volkswagen in Canada. Just before Christmas, this car will be arriving. What do you think? It looks like a futuristic car, like a, what do we call it? A concept car, but on the road.
When this was introduced at the auto show, I couldn't believe that it was a Volkswagen. I'm like, man, are they gonna make this car? And here it is, and it looks hot. Let's get into it right now.
Now, Klaus Bischoff is the head of design for Volkswagen. He talked about just that doing the lights wrapped into the grille and around the front of the car, the lighting package and the treatment really is first rate. He said years ago this would have only been able to be completed on a concept car, but now it's able to be done in a real production car.
It's got a really bold look. The turn signals, I like the front and the rear.
Yeah, it's very futuristic. This is going to be the flagship for Volkswagen, so all of the newest, latest, high technology stuff will be put into this car. And we're getting it fully loaded for the Canadian marketplace.
Let's check out the rest.
The one thing we should say about this car is that it is a sportback, a liftback. It doesn't have a trunk. It's like the CC that was a coupe four-door, but instead of a trunk, it has a liftback.
Speaking of the CC, this is larger in all dimensions, and this is built on the new MQB platform where the CC wasn't.
That's right, and with that you get all of the available powertrains and features that you get in the MQB vehicles integrated into this, so all the latest stuff. So on size, it's bigger than the old CC. Standard
18-inch wheels, but this is the R-Line. Hot 20-inch black wheels on this one.
Well, we're not sure if in Canada we're going to get this color wheel, but if you do get our line, you will get 20-inch wheels. And I think a lot of people will offer that package.
Yeah, I would, for sure.
Now, I like it. I think from every angle, it looks really good. It's low, it's wide, it's flat. And when you see them on the road, and there's a ton of them on the road around here in Wolfsburg, it really does look aggressive.
Yeah, a lot of people won't even recognize that this is a Volkswagen. It's very, very sleek, and it kind of has a real low stance, like you said.
Now, do you think it looks more upscale than the Volkswagen badge would sort of portray, more Audi-like?
Yes, definitely, for sure.
And a lot of people, I think, will make that comparison. You're going to get a lot of technology you would get in some of their cars, but at a Volkswagen attainable price.
Yeah, so onto the back. Power liftgate. It has a smart liftgate as well, where you can just kick and it'll open, and it's got the auto closing feature. Lots of room in the back.
Yeah, I owned an Audi A7, which is very similar to this car in size, and of course has that liftback as well. It's got to be one of the most functional vehicles you can have as a sedan, but also have the utility of a utility vehicle.
All right, let's take it for a drive. Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, ready? Oh, he finally won.
I got it.
Oh, I'm not used to sitting on this side.
Now this is a lot of fun. I get to drive first for a change.
I kind of lost on purpose.
Yeah, whatever.
So we're in Germany, thanks to Thomas Tetzlaff from Volkswagen Canada. He's brought us all the way here. He's the man. So why did you bring us to Germany to drive this car?
Well, I brought you here to drive this car because it's new. The all-new Arteon will be coming this winter, and I thought, you know, Zach and Brian really need to take this thing for a test, and where better than the birthplace of the Arteon.
That's right. Well, we should back up and talk about what car this replaces. So the Passat CC was another stylish coupe-like sedan, and now this is the vehicle that replaces the Passat CC. There was years ago a Phaeton, which was a sort of a high-end Volkswagen, but that disappeared about 12 years ago. So what do you think of the inside?
Well,
he's looking at me. Are you talking to me?
Well, yeah, well, we're not used to having someone in the back. And I honestly think Thomas is here to make sure we don't take off with the car. Maybe.
Yeah. Where could we go? Italy for the weekend.
Maybe. We're in Europe, so everything's close by. Anyways, inside, love it. First of all, sitting in the seat. Let's talk about the seats first of all. For the first time for North America, the driver's seat gets a massage feature.
Really?
Standard.
Not for me.
Well, yeah.
I should win rock, paper, scissors more often.
You get to drive in a second. And then this car is loaded when you get in here. There's only one trim level and a few options. And
well, we should basically talk about that, Thomas. So you decided to bring in this Arteon with one trim for Canada.
That is correct.
So why just kind of one?
Well, when you're looking at a car in this class, it turns out that most of the buyers want all of the stuff anyways. So we decided right from the get-go, let's load this car up. We had history with our CC and we did really well with the well-equipped models. So we thought, well, with Arteon, let's load it up right away. We obviously have to have a couple of little options because some people, you know, like a different trim when it comes to, say, exterior packaging and wheels and tires and such. But by and large, the creature comforts, the safety features, the engine, the transmission, and that tends to be at the higher end. So we thought, hey, let's load it right out of the box.
So let's talk about that. So the one we have here in Europe does not have a sunroof, but all of the Canadian cars will have a sunroof.
Standard, also standard, is the digital dash. You know, on other Volkswagens, that's an option. This is standard. And then the head unit here, this one's a 9-inch. Yeah. But in Canada, we're going to get the 8-inch.
Yeah, and I actually prefer the 8-inch over the 9-inch unit because there's no volume knob on this this one, and with the 8-inch unit, it's used extensively across the Volkswagen line. You get a volume knob, and I prefer that.
So let's talk about room.
Yeah.
Lots of room. Now, Thomas, what's it like back there? Because I sat back there, but I'm not as tall as you.
But we stuck him in the hump seat. Come on,
yeah, that's
not exactly fair.
Well, I'm 6 feet tall, and my head's not touching the headliner, and I am indeed sitting on the hump seat. I've got nothing to complain about here, and if I was sitting to my own left or my own right, I think it would be even better. And that's the big difference with the Arteon. We've added that space in the back seat. Despite the racy roof line, we made sure we stretched the wheelbase a little bit to give backseat passengers a lot more comfort.
Okay, Brian, I just want to jump in here for a second and talk about a car that I owned up until this past March, which is Audi A7, right? Very similar architecture to this, I mean shape and size. Sort of a mid to larger car with a sloped rear roof and a lift gate at the back.
Yep.
And I gotta say, we had that car for 3.5 years and we absolutely loved it because you get the functionality of a big hatch like you would with a utility vehicle, but you're low to the ground, you've got the sportiness of a sedan. It really was a great marriage.
Some people are calling this a hatch. I wouldn't consider this a hatch. It's more like a sport-back or a fastback. To me, a hatch is something like a Golf, with the more of a pronounced back end, not a sloping.
Like a square, typical hatchback.
Yeah, not a sloping rear end. And we've got a lot of stuff in the back there. We have our luggage, our camera gear, and it just gobbles it up, no problem.
Now, I guess, you know, borrowing from the Audi side, they call it a sport back, like they have their A5 sport back, and I think that's a good way to describe it as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you know what? Should we get in a little bit of the pricing?
This car right out of the box, Zach, is $47,995.
Now, a couple of things we should mention about roughly $48,000. All-wheel drive is standard equipment, right? You get the sunroof, you get it pretty much fully loaded. There's really only 2 option packages.
There's a driver's assistance, which you get the 360 camera, and you get some,
automatic parking system.
That's right, that's right.
The one that parks itself.
Yep, and the lane assist.
And then you get the R line, which we're driving right now.
Yeah, that gets you the go from 18-inch standard wheels to 20-inch wheels. You get more cosmetic features. You get slightly different front and rear bumpers. So it's more of a cosmetic thing.
Different steering wheel.
And a different steering wheel. Now, I would bet for people that want to have a sleek-looking sedan, they'll probably opt for that. Do you think it's going to be a high take rate on the R design?
We're anticipating a really high take rate on that, but for various reasons, some people want a bit more of a sleeper, or they prefer an 18-inch wheel, so we made sure that was available as well.
So this car's right around $50,000, okay? So a lot of people are going to say that's an expensive Volkswagen. Not as expensive as the Phaeton was years ago, but it's not an inexpensive car. But can we talk about competitors? Who's this car competing against? What do you think?
Probably the BMW 4 Series Grand Coupe, Coupe.
I would think the new Kia Stinger. Also a hatchback.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's a little bit bigger than this car, actually.
A5 Sportback.
Yeah, that's another one. So it's kind of punching with cars slightly above its class. The Kia Stinger, I think, would be probably for me the closest competitor.
It's a lot of car for the price. There's no doubt about it.
Now,
so let's talk about the drivetrain. What's under the hood and what's driving these wheels?
So do I get to drive?
All right. All right. What do you think?
You know what? Turbo 4-cylinder engine. It's a 2-liter. It's basically the Golf R engine that's been slightly detuned. 268 horsepower and really good torque. And I think that's one of the strong points with this car is that it's got a lot of punch out of the pocket. And you wouldn't think with a Turbo 4 it would, but you know, Volkswagen knows what they're doing with these engines. It
really feels very Golf R like that, this engine. One difference that we have with this European model that we're driving though, this is equipped with a 7-speed DSG transmission.
And that's the transmission you get in the Golf R. We're going to get the 8-speed Tiptronic. And you know why? Do you know why?
I heard why.
Please turn left after 350 meters and continue to follow the B82 towards Schladen.
We're going to Schladen.
Schladen. Thomas, why is it that we don't get this 7-speed DSG?
Well, there's been a noted preference for a normal, if you will call it, transmission in certain applications. We decided to go with the 8-speed that we have hot off the presses. It's an excellent transmission. I think you'll be hard-pressed to find something that's as smooth as that transmission.
You know, having a chance to speak to engineers from different car companies in the Volkswagen group, they've said the same thing, is there's a resistance to dual clutches because in certain situations you get
a little herky-jerky type of action.
Well, it's because it's a manual transmission that's automatically controlled. So when you drive a manual, you sometimes slip the clutch a little to get in and out of a parking spot, and a lot of North Americans they don't get that, so they think there's something wrong with it. But so a Tiptronic solves that.
Yeah, you know, they want smooth, and you know, I want to feel the gears changing. Put it down a little bit. Come on, let's
I'll put it in S. I'm gonna jump down a few gears.
Yeah.
You're right about the Golf R feeling to it.
Yeah.
It does have that.
And it sounds like it too. Also, this is equipped with the dynamic chassis control.
Yeah. So you have the different modes here. You can put it, and we're in sport right now. And I think it's for a car of this size, it feels and drives quite a bit smaller.
Oh yeah, because this is a pretty big car.
Yeah.
I love these roads though, don't you?
Yeah, it's got really good grunt. And I just want to say on the record, thank you, Brian, for putting my seat heater on. This is a gag that we have had for years now. You finally got me on camera. I'm like, oh man, why is it so warm in here? You feel good?
I feel good. Are you sweating yet?
Yeah, I am. I'm like, man, what's the temperature outside? It's almost 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Don't worry, I'll get you.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
And wintertime, if it has ventilated seats, then we try to get each other.
That's where it started. Years ago, we had a production vehicle, and is this it?
No, it said turn right.
Okay. We had a production vehicle, and we were shooting outside in the cold. And
Turn right.
And when I got into the vehicle, I put the ventilated seats on in the winter, and Brian goes like this, "I'm so cold."
It was freezing out. Speaking of ventilated seats, this one does not have it, but the Canadian version will, Thomas?
It will indeed.
Standard or option?
Standard.
Standard ventilated seats. So once again, lots and lots of standard equipment on this vehicle.
Okay, so we're on the Autobahn now, and we have unrestricted. What do you guys want to do?
Let me get the camera here.
That's 180. That's 200. We'll go up to 220. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think that's fast enough.
Okay, that's 220.
220 kilometers an hour. We're on the Autobahn.
And this thing doesn't even feel like it's trying.
Okay, you know, for those people that doubt a 4-cylinder, it's very, very capable.
And very stable.
Yeah, I think that longer wheelbase really helps too.
I think this is where the legal disclaimer needs to come at the bottom of the screen.
We are in Germany,
Yes.
driving on the Autobahn with unrestricted speed limit, so we should be very clear. And you know what? All the times we get to come to Germany, how often you actually get a clear road, it's not very often, because when you're near a major city like Frankfurt or Munich or Stuttgart or something like that, you got to go a long way before you get open road.
People think that just because it's the Autobahn, it's always unrestricted, but that's not true. That's not true at all.
Yeah.
But one thing that you really notice driving in Germany especially is the lane etiquette.
Oh, get out of the way.
People just get out of the way. If they're not passing, they're in the right lane, the way it should be. Everyone should learn how to drive like this. Well, Zach, it's been a couple of amazing days driving the new Arteon around the Wolfsburg area here in Germany.
Yeah, and you know what? We drove the car on camera yesterday, and we found out that yes, indeed, the wheels you see on this car, which miraculously changed color from gray to gold, the dark gray wheels in 20 inches are the R-Line wheels.
That's awesome.
That's going to look really cool. All right, what did you think of the car and where we are?
Well, I love this area. The Autostedt, if you haven't never been here, you gotta come here. If you come to Europe and you're an auto fan, get here. But the car itself, what I'm really impressed of, what I mentioned, it's so much like the concept that we saw.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to future Volkswagen products, especially those electric vehicles, the IDs. If they're gonna stick to that design philosophy, I'm a big fan.
Now, the other thing, I was thinking about this last night. So there's really no worry buying this car. It's built on the MQB platform, that's proven. It's got a Golf R engine, that's proven. It's got the Golf R 4Motion all-wheel drive system.
Yep.
It's got an 8-speed automatic that's proven. It's basically just a bigger version of all the other Volkswagens.
You get the best of all worlds. You get the utility with the hatch, tons of room in the back. Like, there's no reason to buy an SUV.
It's a premium product. It starts at just around $48,000. There are just a few options, but overall, we like the Arteon.
We very, very like it.
All right, there you go. There's another edition of Sweet and
Sour.
Sour. And one for Germany, Sweet and Sauerkraut.